Not many of us could eat 17 Big Macs in an hour or snack on peanuts hotter than the sun, but Adam Moran can. Still, that doesn't mean this guy's job is easy. When you build a career on social media, it's hard to keep your private life out of the public eye. This has certainly been the case with Adam Moran, who regularly included his partner, Lindsay Wood, in his YouTube videos. Often, Wood would either be on camera or behind the lens as he took on his various eating challenges. Wood's involvement with Moran's platform meant that when they split in 2023 after 12 years together, a lot of people had something to say about it. Both Moran and Wood had to deal with many negative comments from viewers, despite the fact that both confirmed that there was no animosity involved in their decision to split. In an Instagram statement, Wood confirmed that she would remain friends with Moran. She wrote, "We are still friends and both just want different things in life. But in the end, trolls are gonna troll." Some fans chose to make negative comments about the relationship, even choosing to comment on Wood's appearance. To this day, more than a year after the split, Wood still receives negative comments on her Instagram about the end of her relationship with Moran. But she's often responded by pointing out that she's happy as she is. In fact, both Moran and Wood appear to have moved on from the split and are now dating other people. It probably won't surprise you to learn that speed eating can cause quite a bit of discomfort. Even for the average person, gobbling down a meal too quickly can lead to indigestion, and Adam Moran tends to suffer a lot more than any of us normies. In 2019, for example, he ate some extremely spicy peanuts for one of his YouTube videos, and by spicy, we mean really, really spicy. 13 million units on the Scoville scale spicy, in fact. For context, the hottest pepper in the world, Pepper X, has a Scoville score of just 2.6 million units. For this challenge, Moran had to finish the whole tube within 10 minutes, then sit for 5 minutes without seeking relief. And as soon as he started to eat the nuts, things got, well, kinda nuts.
How long do I have to last? Don't forget the time.
By the end of the tube, Moran was in visible pain. He even told his partner Lindsay Wood that he couldn't feel his fingers and repeated fairly often that he was scared. Moran ended up asking for milk before the final 5 minutes was up.
Please drink, you're really worrying me.
At the end of the spicy peanut challenge, Moran told Wood that he'd done some crazy stuff throughout his eating career, even once nearly choking to death. This is a serious risk for anyone who takes part in competitive eating challenges, as they require people to continuously fill their mouths with food under the pressure of a time limit. Sadly, people have died as a result of choking during speed eating competitions. In November 2016, one man in Japan attempted to eat 5 onigiri balls in 3 minutes but ended up choking during the competition and later died. 2 years prior to that incident, another man had choked in the US while taking part in a hot dog eating competition for the 4th of July. Paramedics attempted to remove the blockage in his throat, but their attempts were ultimately unsuccessful and the man later died. That's not all either. In 2023, a 37-year-old mother in Wales died from choking during a marshmallow eating competition, and in 2017, a 20-year-old college student from New Jersey died as a result of choking after a pancake contest. Truth is, speed eating isn't just difficult, it's dangerous too. Choking is far from the only health risk associated with speed eating. Competitive eaters like Moran often have to eat huge amounts of unhealthy foods in order to win big. Often, Moran is filmed in front of huge plates of processed meats and salty, fatty foods like burgers, onion rings, and fries. Most experts agree that for the average person, there's nothing wrong with eating these types of foods in moderation, but competitive eaters don't tend to do moderation. In 2016, Moran set a world record for the most McDonald's McNuggets eaten for a YouTube video, for example, which involved him having to eat 155 chicken nuggets in 150 minutes. He also set records for the most McDonald's Big Macs eaten in 1 hour.
Never eat a Big Mac again.
Because fast food is so high in sodium, sugar, and saturated fat, it can increase the risk of heart disease, stroke, and type 2 diabetes. On top of this, excessive consumption is also associated with a high risk of depression, high blood pressure, dental problems, and acne. Moran is aware of the risks that come with his job, though. He recently joked on Instagram that after 10 years, he has managed to avoid that oft-predicted heart attack. He added, "If you stick around, maybe I'll make it to 20 years." Moran's problems don't just come from the types of foods he eats, as frequently eating large amounts of any food can cause chronic health problems. Research into competitive eating has been limited so far, but experts are concerned that it could cause competitors long-term issues with their stomachs. If you've ever eaten a big meal, then you'll know that our stomachs do have the ability to stretch considerably. Usually after the food has been digested, they'll retract again. Some research has actually suggested that the stomachs of competitive eaters can expand more than the average person to accommodate accommodate the excessive amounts of food needed to win the competition. But this isn't without serious risk. Due to the repetitive strain on their stomachs, competitive eaters like Moran could be at risk of conditions such as gastroparesis, which is essentially stomach paralysis. People with gastroparesis face a life of discomfort while digesting food, as well as malnutrition and even bezoars, which are hard lumps of undigested food that remain in the stomach. On top of this, they could be at a higher risk of intractable vomiting, which involves persistent vomiting that's often difficult to control. Adam Moran had to adopt a few lifestyle habits to compensate for the risks that come with his career. He regularly works out, for example. In fact, he usually heads to the gym each day for a 2-hour session. He also says that when he's not taking part in challenges, he tries to be as healthy as possible with his food choices, opting for light options such as yogurt, protein shakes, fruit, and cauliflower rice.
It's pretty much that simple.
In the days around challenges, Moran also has to fast, which can be uncomfortable, especially considering his stomach has been stretched for challenges and so is used to accommodating more food. He told The Independent that managing his diet in his career is a discipline, adding, "You know you can't eat that much every day because if you do, you'll get fat and probably die." Cycles of binging and restricting can also place stress on the body, however. Research into the specific long-term impact on competitive eaters is limited, but separate research into dieting and eating disorders suggests that the cycle may lead to negative impacts on metabolic rate and hormone levels. Some competitive eaters try to stretch their stomachs by water loading, which basically involves drinking gallons of water in one go. But while staying hydrated is important for health, drinking too much in one go can actually be dangerous and even deadly. This is because drinking too much water can cause brain cells to swell, which increases the pressure on them. Adam Moran tries to keep his water loading to a minimum, but he told The Independent that he still drinks around 4 liters in a minute prior to a challenge. Research suggests this is still a potentially dangerous intake. For some people, water intoxication can kick in after consuming more than 3 liters in the space of a few hours. Some experts have also expressed that competitors may not be able to consume enough water during challenges, especially ones that involve eating a lot of salty fast food in a short amount of time. This is because eating excessive amounts of salt can lead to dehydration, which comes with its own set of unpleasant symptoms, including dizziness and lightheadedness. Speed eaters like Adam Moran have to worry about their jaw health too. This is because overuse of the jaw during competitions can lead to painful conditions, including arthritis. Arthritis tends to be characterized by inflammation, and symptoms can include tenderness, stiffness, and weakness in the affected area. In fact, registered nutritionist Debbie Petipane told CBS News that some competitive eaters have reported experiencing excruciating pain in their jaw as a result of arthritis. Some competitors have also experienced lockjaw during competitions. In 2004, for example, now retired professional eater Edward Cookie Jarvis experienced lockjaw in the middle of a sweet corn eating competition. Lockjaw, which is also sometimes caused by tetanus, can come with painful symptoms. Not only does it make you unable to open your jaw properly, but you can also experience swelling, headaches, earaches, and muscle spasms. Other injuries associated with professional speed eating include throat pain, swollen tongues, stomach cramps, mouth cuts, and even pharyngeal abrasion, which is a sharp and painful scratch in the back of the throat.
I eat lots of food, and sometimes if you push past the envelope, sometimes the worst does happen.
Between the mess, the injuries, the risk of disease, and the huge piles of processed foods, speed eating isn't pretty. But it gets worse. After taking on a giant hot dog challenge at Holy Moly's Deep South Kitchen, a now closed diner in York in the UK, Moran thought he was going to vomit. Instead, he soiled himself, and because he was filming at the time, the whole thing was caught on camera. Moran isn't alone in this either. Gastrointestinal discomfort and bowel problems are far from rare in the sport of speed eating, and the high amounts of sodium consumed in one go can easily lead to diarrhea. Vomiting is also common. In fact, being sick even has its own name in the speed eating world. It's called a reversal of fortune. If they vomit, a participant must swallow it back to keep going with the challenge. If the vomit touches the table, it's called a Roman incident, and it may result in disqualification. It's likely called this because it was once thought that the Romans used special rooms known as vomitoriums to purge their stomachs, allowing them to eat more. This theory has been debunked by experts, however. Competitive eaters like Adam Moran put their bodies through a huge amount of stress in order to win money, but to many, it's all worth it, as competitions can pay out thousands of dollars. Take Nathan's hot dog eating contest, for example. Winners of this world-famous contest can expect to take home around $10,000. Those who come in second place will receive $5,000, while third place receives $2,500. Fourth gets $1,500, and the competitor in fifth place will receive $1,000. All in all, it's not a bad haul. Like with any other sport, though, speed eaters also have to deal with failure, and this is something Moran has had to face on multiple occasions. The first time he tackled a platter challenge at a steakhouse in Newcastle, for example, he left just one pot of beans on the plate after consuming chicken wings, ribs, sausages, brisket, pork crackling, pulled pork, fries, buns, coleslaw, and jalapenos. He then went back to try the challenge for a second time, but once again, he couldn't finish the enormous plate of food. Other challenges that Moran has failed include the undefeated Bangers and Mash challenge at a West Yorkshire pub called the Brown Cow, Birkenhead's Badass Burrito Challenge, and Hornsea Breakfast Club's 50-item fry-up challenge.
That's the sound of failure.